We are so stoked to bring back to the show our original guest, the Alpha and the Omega here.
No. Let's not go
Ren
that far.
He's an award-winning writer, thoroughbred breeder owner, self-styled Pedigeek, and the Tampa Bay Downs track analyst, Ren Carothers.
Hey guys, what's going
Yay.
on? I'm sorry I couldn't bring the facial hair quality to the show that you do.
Thank goodness you're increasing the sunburn quotient.
Exactly. Yeah. Gosh, if you could really see this, I mean, the webcam doesn't really capture it in its finest detail, but it is there. Trust me.
How close were you to the sun?
It was basically within range of the flare. So, I mean, my face has got nothing on my arm. My arm is like, right. I don't know. I won't bother you with the further details regarding that because
if only you had a sun umbrella.
I know, but that would have probably scared the horses. So
true. Okay. Anyway, Joe, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's fine. John's just wondering. He's never seen the sun, really.
I'm trapped in my basement.
I've heard of such things.
Basement dweller.
Exactly. My eyes.
Oh, there's a name for a horse. Basement. Although that's not fair to the horse, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's.
Listen, John's heard me say this before. I'm all about when you name a horse something that you can see on a trophy.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. All right. Stay in that lane, Ren. Stay in that lane. Okay.
And also, we've named like 5 horses on this show already, so I got to see how those work out.
There you go. I saw you got your train to Jamaica.
Change at Jamaica.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. Burner account. Mean to me, and then who's the other one, John?
Naval Hospital.
More, right? Naval Hospital. That's right.
And
bury the lead. Bury the lead.
Yeah. Did you spell that right though? Because so many people.
LEDE. Yes.
Yep.
See now, if you watch the show, you would know that that's actually the way we did it. But you must have missed that one segment.
Exactly. I watched the show.
Ren's like me. She only watches when she's on.
No,
when she's on.
I watch. Believe me.
Skip, John. Skip, John. There I am again. All right. So there was some really good racing this past weekend at Tampa, your current home track,
That's right.
Ren. Also, by the way, every time I introduce you, I want to say your name like Oprah. Ren Carothers. You get a pedigree. You get a pedigree. Anyway, so Sam Davis was this past weekend, the local prep for the Tampa Bay Derby. It was a little bit of a mishmash field. I didn't really know what to think of the race going into it. But we had another really impressive, not this time winner. Paco went to the front, kept on going. Yep. I mean, what was your impression from that race and just the racing on the card overall?
Well, I mean, I know some people, I saw somebody who I respect saying, oh gosh, I don't think Agate Road's a great play at, 7-2. This is a horse with switching surfaces, and the one dirt start he had wasn't overly impressive. And I disagreed with that. So that's actually the horse that I went with as my selection. And I thought he ran really well. I mean, in the end there, he was only beat a length and a quarter. And no more time had wired, right? And the reason that I thought that Agate Road still ran really well, and should have been respected is because, I mean, yeah, he'd been running on turf, but he'd been running against graded stakes competition on the grass. And that wonder start he had, that was supposed to be on grass. They took it off. It was run at that mile at Saratoga where they go down that chute. He had a terrible start, zigzagging around, spotted the field like 10 lengths, and came closing. So I thought this was a horse we would see come closing, and that he did run his race. He just could not get to no more time in time. But yeah, I think that's a horse to continue to watch going forward. We always hear it. I know it's cliche at this point that Churchill Downs, the surface there is very kind to turf types. Anyhow, he's going to get that long stretch there. So again, a horse to keep on the radar. No more time. I thought it was so cool to see Jose D'Angelo get his first graded stakes score here stateside. He's already accomplished so much out of the United States. I know that Jesus' team picked up a grade 1 win at Camarero. So it's not like it's his first bit of success, but to see him get it done there, it was really cool. He's so humble, so nice. And we were all calling him El Presidente because he does, if you look at it, he does look like Nayib Bukele from El Salvador, the president of El Salvador.
I thought you were going to say Trump.
You need to get him on. He's got the beard too.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, listen, it was an aggressive ride pays off. I think a lot of times in these big races, and I agree with you, Agate Road probably ran a winning race, having to navigate all the traffic of that big field and coming and get second. There was a scary part of that race when Ever Do It jumped the outside rail.
Yes.
Sounds like he was okay.
Well, I was right there at the rail, and I saw it happen, and poor Hubert Villagomez. I mean, he went boom right down. Thankfully, he was totally fine. But yeah, Ever Do It just ran off and went through, and he's fine. He's fine. Yeah. He's going to be out for a little bit, I think, but he's fine.
Yeah. Right. And Ren, that was one of the considerations that people were talking about after watching the race, is that the race really set up for no more time, because not only didn't anyone else go up there with Paco to the front, but a couple of horses that had some speed were kind of trapped in, because Ever Do It, who was, you know, 1,000,000,000 to 1, never should have been in the race anyway, but that's a whole nother therapy session. You know, was in the race through the rider, and then like pinned some of the speed in, where the jockeys, rightfully so, had to be a little bit more cautious. And that allowed Paco to be out in front with no more time. Was it that egregious, or is it just people are nitpicking and looking for reasons why a front runner shouldn't have won that race?
Well, I mean, we know speed does well on big days, irrespective of what track you're looking at. So I don't know. I'm not going to take anything away. I mean, he was also coming out of a really good race. Not this time where, let me think, what was the horse's name? First World War. Had come out of. So I think he was legitimate. I mean, as far as horses being in the race, maybe I think if you have any horse that has a little bit of an ability and you're hoping that maybe you could have a Derby chance, you take that chance. So I'm not going to, you know, say, oh, well, should this horse been here, there? I mean, he unfortunately didn't get to show whether he should have been, should not been. But I do think what you said is very valid, that obviously the pace dynamic suffers when you have to adjust to something unforeseen happening like that. At the end of the day, maybe that would have changed the dynamic to such a degree that it would have been that length and a quarter that Agate Road needed to get there. But either way, I think that was a really solid race for that horse. I don't know with no more time what he's going to do going forward necessarily. I know that Jose told me, and again, he's so kind. He was talking about how they're always going to put this horses, you know, and all the horses in the stable, their best interest first. The Tampa Bay Derby is what we would hope would be the next logical start, because obviously we want to keep these horses coming back to our track. And he says he's a smaller horse, so they're just going to train. They're going to see how he's doing, and that would likely be the next race.
Two horses I wanted to mention on the undercard.
Oh, I think I know where you're going to go.
So I want to, first of all, I want to talk about the old stalwart Sibelius, who was such a cool horse. Remember, he won the Dubai race last year. Was it the Dubai race or the Saudi race?
It was, he won the Golden Shaheen.
The Golden Shaheen, yeah. So it was in Dubai, and it was similar kind of race as to Saturday in the Pelican, when he just wouldn't quit. He just wouldn't quit, and just somehow found a way to get his nose down on the wire. I love horses like that who just never stop trying, because he had a wide trip on Saturday and really looked like he was beat until the last couple of strides and just found a way. And the other horse was in a maiden race in race 9. There was a dead heat between a Shug Firster and a Chad Firster, Bell of Rights for Shug and oversubscribed for Chad. It was a really exciting finish, and oversubscribed in particular was absolutely flying late. He got stuck a little bit in the stretch, came through inside late just to get up for the dead heat. Ren, what were your impressions of those two horses?
Well, first of all, I thought it was really cool to see Sibelius coming in on the same type of prep schedule that he had last year when he did this. He had won the Mr. Prospector, and then he came into the Pelican. And here again, we saw him win the Mr. Prospector. I think he won it by like 4 lengths. I don't have it right in front of me, but I think that was the margin. And then he is coming into, again, the Pelican. Now, the one thing I would say, Nakatomi had a bad trip. He could not get out. He was boxed in. And just when you thought Tyler was going to be able to get him out, he got boxed in again. That being said, I'm not taking anything away from Sibelius. That was an awesome, awesome score. And the one thing I find a little bit perplexing, though, is I think the figure came back in 91. But it was such a quickly run race. Like, that final time was, I think, very close. I'd have to double check, but I think it was very close to the record. So I don't understand the 91 figure necessarily. And I to be honest, I haven't really dug into it either. I mean, obviously is your drinking word today, by the way.
108 and 4, by the way. 108 and 4 was the final time.
This is just coffee, actually, everybody. It's too early for me right now. But
Ren, don't worry about the buyer score, because when the horse runs again and wins, they'll go back and retroactively change it.
Oh, there you go. Oh, right. There. That's how it happened with you, right?
Buyer at the buyer team.
But yeah, I mean, I think that that was such a cool win for him, especially when he had come back, a lot of people are like, oh, he's kind of seems to have lost a step. He's still gritty as get out. And so I thought that was a very cool one. Now, as far as the main race, so although I can't brag too much because the price on my horse got bet down. The Shug horse was my top pick in that race. I loved her, first time starter. So I had gone, if I recall, 5-9-7 in the race. I think that's what it was. I'm going to double check right now while I'm talking to you. So I would have given out, look, I'm making it about myself. I would have given out.
That's what the show's all about.
Exactly. I would have given the trifecta out ice cold, if it had not been for that dead heat. Because I remember Matt liked another horse in that race. And I looked at him when mine walked in. I said, there's your winner right there. There's your winner right there. Because she just, not only did she look phenomenal on paper, when she walked in that paddock, you know when you just know. Mm-hmm. You knew you were looking at something very special.
Like the first time you saw Matt.
Yes, exactly. It was like the first time I saw Matt. And
I thought she was red before. She's getting even more red now.
I love my honey. I'm trying to find which race was that. Which race was it? I can't find it.
On Saturday, the maiden race? It was the 9th.
It was the 9th. Where are we here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here we go. So, Bell of Rights, which, by the way, super clever name because she's by Constitution. And so I had gone Bell of Rights oversubscribed over Active, and Active got the Shodo at 15-1. So I was
you hit two tries.
Because I can't get too cute about I had a Chad Brownfirster in my top 3. Whoop-de-doo. Everybody.
The Bucks.
Yeah. But Bella Wright, she was gorgeous. And she's from this really well-cultivated line Shug has had a long relationship with Emery Hamilton. And they've had a lot of horses together over the years. And this is just one of those beautiful pedigrees that when somebody's really taken stewardship of a family, as Emery has, you cultivate it. And this is what you get back because you've shown it that love and that appreciation. And so this is like the family of, Olympiad and Pleasant Passage and Peaceful Passage and Chic Shireen and just Queena. I mean, it's a really beautiful pedigree. And especially with a horse like this that must in many ways feel like family to Shug himself, you're not going to debut them until you know they're ready. And like I said, so I loved her from that perspective. I already loved her on paper, but the minute I saw her, it was just like, oh.
Nice.
So it was nice to see that she dug in like she did. And that photo finish, we're all standing there. I love my Tampa family. They're amazing. So, I'm standing there with the paddock judge and our racing secretary and whatnot. And we're waiting for this photo to come through and find out who actually won the race and doing the final Jeopardy. And then finally, it's revealed that it's a dead heat. But the reason it took so long is apparently there was a dead heat for another one of the placings as well, I guess. Or it looked like there may have been anyway, but it ended up not being. So that's what was taking super, super long with it.
I was going to say I'm glad you said that because sometimes when I watch these deliberations, I feel like there should be a time limit. If you can't figure it out within 3 minutes, just call it a dead heat. So it's interesting to know that why that was taking so long.
Yeah.
Yep.
John, go ahead.
Ren, also let's talk about the girls now and the Suncoast because that is, arguably another stepping stone in the Kentucky Oaks, and it was won by a relatively local team.
Yes.
And they beat a couple of really well-bred horses. I want to talk more about the winner, Power Squeeze, than I do about life talk, because
Okay.
I think that we should talk more about the horses that actually hit the wire first instead of the ones that didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just feel that way. But let's talk a little bit about Power Squeeze and what you felt watching that chestnut hit the wire first.
Well, I mean, she was definitely the horse that seemed like the attention was on if you weren't going to go with life talk. I remember having read a comment from Jorge Delgado regarding the buyer jump that we saw. Because remember, I mean, she had won that main special weight by 4.5, and it was a race that had been originally meant for the turf. And the figure was not overly impressive. I mean, a 49. But then here she comes back in January, and she wins the cash run by 5 lengths, and she suddenly puts up this big 82 buyer figure. Well, I guess he had said when she won that main special weight at Delaware, she was only cranked like 60-70%. So that's part of that equation. The other part of it, this is nobody telling me this. It's just me looking at the pedigree is, she's a daughter of Union Rag. She's out of an Awesome Again mare. That's the type of pedigree that I was about to say, obviously again. That's the type of pedigree that can appreciate some maturation, and you're going to get a better horse if you allow that to happen, and within the horse's own time. So I think he was rewarded for giving her that time off between October and then coming in to the cash run. And so it was definitely not surprising to see her be the one winning the Suncoast there.
Right. And she's a beautiful filly with that big white blaze.
Yeah.
Easy to spot. I love those.
And it was cool and it was cool to see Danny Centeno. He's an amazing rider. He's so thoughtful in how he takes his horses out there, the decisions he makes. There's always a rhyme or a reason for the,
We got you.
It's early for me. Did I tell you that? You know what I'm trying to say in any case. But there's always a method to the madness, so to speak.
There you go.
But he's somebody that it was, like you said, the home team. So when I saw him coming back after the Winter Circle festivities, I grabbed him right away and I pulled him on at the little table where I was set up by the paddock getting my sunburn. And we got to chat about it. It was really nice.
Yep. Tampa institution. That's 2 Tampa institutions right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of which, John hinted at something before that you had like some interesting fan experiences at the track. Take your time.
Okay. Before we go forward with this story, just take in mind, I pride myself on being a lady. Okay. And I like to think I'm a nice person. I'm a very nice person. And because I genuinely have had no reason to ever be mean. Thankfully, people 99.9% of the time are always very nice and respectful. Whether it's in person.
Where the hell do you live?
Huh?
Where the hell do you live?
Yeah, exactly. What bubble do you live in?
In unicorn land in my head.
Exactly.
But I am all about do unto others and being sweet and kind and always trying to be considerate because you never know what somebody else is going through. All of that. That's me. That being said, get to the story. Okay, so I'm done. After wearing heels and walking the track with John and his crew at the Kentucky Oaks and tearing up my feet, I'm like, I'm done wearing high heels to the track. I'm gonna wear boots, nice boots, but boots to the track, and so I can walk and not be in pain after the fact. So I was wearing boots along with my nice dress, and I was heading down to the Winter Circle. I forget why. I think to grab an interview or something or bring somebody back with me. And in any case, so there's that pathway that the jockeys take back and forth between the track and the track apron. And I'm walking and I hear this drunk guy, a kid, really. I mean, he's like a frat age, cat calling at me. And he's just like, "Hey, Mary Poppins." And I'm like, oh gosh. And then he goes on, "Mary Poppins has got it going on." And I'm thinking, oh gosh, right? But I'm ignoring it because it's kind of a compliment. I got it going on, even though I'm freaking Mary Poppins, whatever. I don't care. But then he pushed it a little too far for me. And I'm a nice person, but I'm also my dad's daughter. I'm Middle Eastern. We're like, we don't take anything. Then this is what just set me over. He goes, "Where's your umbrella?" So at this point, I'm already a little bit past him. So I wheel back around and I said, "Up your butt." And then I should not have said that. It's completely unprofessional and it's completely unlike me. But I don't know. It was just the first thing that came. I mean, thankfully, I did not use an expletive.
Wow.
Because, I think I'm still in, I'm a mom. And so I think I'm still in the mommy, the mommy mode in terms of word usage. So butt came out.
Nice.
And so he suddenly shrunk and all his friends were laughing at him. Because I guess they just did not expect that he was going to get smack talked back.
Right, exactly. And then you got 5,000 new followers on your Instagram, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. And I feel bad because I kept walking and this is me. This is me in a nutshell. I had every right to push back on this guy who's catcalling me and telling me I got it going on and all this stuff and where's my umbrella. I definitely had the right to push back. But at the same time, I felt guilty for the rest of the afternoon going, gosh, that was not professional. I shouldn't have said that to him. I hope he's having an okay day.
Oh, man. We would have had a switchblade in his tire by then.
I was like, that's where you and I are different. I would have been so satisfied that I came up with that.
Exactly. You came up with it. Exactly.
And it wouldn't have said but.
Oh my gosh. No, I know. You would. Yeah, there would have been an expletive for sure. And it wouldn't have been 2 fingers. It probably would have been 1.
1. Exactly. There you go. You have watched the show. You do know.
I don't know. I'm actually impressed that in that split second, I was able to censor myself in 2 ways, verbally and with gesticulation.
Nice. All right. So we're going to do the awkward pivot to to the Risen Star.
Let it breathe, man. Let it breathe.
Let it marinate.
Oh my God. Did you get a chance to look at the Derby prep for this weekend?
Actually, I now have. Yes.
Okay. Anything that looks interesting?
Well, I mean, I feel like you got to go with the horse who's not going to be people might think is sneaky, but is not sneaky at all. And I'm talking about Sierra Leone. I mean, all those races were being won on the front end in the Remsen.
Right.
And this horse just comes out from 12 lengths back and he looks like a winner. And he then starts dueling with Dornoch and he loses there on the wire by a nose. And we know what Dornoch, is capable of in terms of talent. That's the half for those who don't know to Mage. So I think, now they're going to go blinkers on. He's making this first start as a 3-year-old. You're my gun runner. He looks legitimate for sure. Yep. But this is a really great field and you've got a lot of interest, represented not only for horses that you're hoping to get to the Kentucky Derby, but a lot of sire interest as well, where, it's an interesting mix because you've got proven and then you've got some horses you're like, wow, cool to see this.
This is definitely, in my estimation, the deepest field so far for
you got Honor Marie in there.
Yep.
Honor Marie, Hall of Fame, 100%. Another $1 million, another 7-figure yearling. Obviously we haven't even touched on Track Phantom yet.
Oh, Track Phantom, yeah.
It was probably going to be one of the favorites. Interestingly enough, though, there's only, other than B Dancer, who's only run once, there's no undefeated horses in here. And most of the horses have only won once. So it's deep, but it's still unknown. No,
that's true. And we can see anything happen. I love it. Maybe I sounded that way just now, but when these horses, this is such a growing period for them. These are young horses. They change not only physically, but mentally with every start. So it's kind of hard to gauge. And like you said before, you've got, it's interesting. You've got Honor Marie who sold for $40,000 in here. And then, as you said, you've got the other side of the spectrum where you're hoping the 1.4 for Hall of Fame and Steve Asmussen. And he, of course, this is a son of gun runner and he, of course, trained gun runner. And so it's just interesting to see the dynamics at play. I feel like time is flying by because,
I know,
right? It was like, oh gosh, you just were sending gun runner out to win the Pegasus World Cup Invitational.
Right. Yeah. No. There's a sneaky horse in here, I think, called Real Men Violin, McPeak's horse, the 6 horse. that took 5 starts to win. But really, if you take the turf races out of the equation, even though he finished first and second in them, he's been improving every single race incrementally. And this is Kenny McPeek's time to shine. This is his time of year when he gets these, less expensive horses. And you and I had spoken about, undervalued stallions like Mendelssohn.
Yeah. No.
And there's 2 Mendelssohns in here.
No, it's really interesting because what Mendelssohn stands for $15,000, and he is bred impeccably, as we know. He's a son of Scat Daddy. We lost Scat Daddy, I feel like, way too soon. Scat Daddy is also the sire of Justify, and we see what Justify is doing as a sire. But then Mendelssohn himself is a half brother to freaking Into Mischief. He's a half brother to Beholder. It's not surprising that he's got these genetics. Now, I know that he was a very flexible sort, so you're getting kind of a mix of what his progeny do. But what we're seeing here, like you said, with 2 by him in there already, and then we Opus 42 won one of our stakes races recently at Tampa. There was a nice race the other day where there were 2 of the top 3 horses crossing the wire were by Mendelssohn. He is, I think, as you use the word, undervalued. For sure. I think he's got a lot going for him. And maybe it's just a matter of sometimes they have to adjust. If you're looking for world beater types, sometimes a stud book adjusts from season to season because they think they know the slate of mares that will go best with this particular sire. And sometimes it proves out that they need a different type. And you find that out over a couple of crops. So I definitely think he's got a ton going for him.
Yeah, it's a fascinating race. Ren, thanks for stopping by to talk about it with us and the Tampa card. Ren, don't call me Mary Poppins Carothers. Always appreciate you.
You can call me Mary Poppins. Just don't ask me where my umbrella is because I'll tell you.
Because you'll tell you.
It's public now. Everyone knows where her line is at. Ren, appreciate the time as always.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.